Dear fellow coders, welcome to One Little Coder. This video, I'm going to show you some of the capabilities that I'm amazed by OpenAI Codex. So if you're not familiar with OpenAI Codex, it's an AI system that has been powering GitHub Copilot. So it is basically like a text generation where you give input in natural language like English, and then it's going to create a respective computer program that is, that works for you to run. So they had an impressive demo, and then currently it is available as beta, and fortunately I'm one of these programmers coders. This one little coder got access to OpenAI beta. So I believe this is future of programming, and I would like to take you through some of the things that OpenAI Codex does very well. So this demo is going to contain a simple set of exercise where we are going to ask this OpenAI Codex playground. So playground is like the interface where you can write, but if you actually want API, there is a different way for you to take the API key and then start using it inside your Python code. So that is something that we can do, but for now, today, we are going to just look at some of the capabilities, some of the things that OpenAI Codex really does well. So the first thing is I would like to start with the language Python, which is I am something familiar with. And within Python, I can just simply say something. So the way it happens is if you already have OpenAI Codex beta access, you have to select the DaVinci Codex engine, and after you get the engine, it is always good to give something inside a doc string. So this kind of triple quote is called doc string in Python, where which is usually used to give comments within a function. So what I can say is I can say ask your name and say good morning to them. Okay, let's run this and see if it does. Okay, so it says input your name, and then based on that it's going to say good morning what. So if I say what is your name is One Little Coder, it's going to say good morning One Little Coder. So now this is impressive, right? So this has done a very good job. So next I'm going to copy an example that they have given in one of their documentation, which is again a very simple thing. Import random package, and then create a list of 10 names, create a list of 10 last names, and then just combine them randomly. When I run this, so it has created a bunch of names, and then it's going to create. So it's printing. So for us to validate whether it works fine or not, I'm going to actually get my VS Code, and within my VS Code I'm going to create a Jupyter notebook, which is easy for me to run. Jupyter notebook, because I can of course easily run on Jupyter notebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code, Jupyter notebook, and then I'm going to just execute it. When I execute it, I just run it. Okay, I have to select the engine. When I run this, you can see that it has randomly mixed names, and then it is giving the names. So the second challenge what we try to do here is get the random list of names and then try to combine those names and just print out the names in random order. And thanks to OpenAI Codex, this has been successfully done. So now maybe I can start asking something slightly more than what basically we would do. So let's try to pick up a web scraping task. So I can say let's take a web page. So in this case it's USA, so I can say India, and then I can say from this URL, okay, scrape, I will probably say Python 3 just for reference. Scrape the HTML content from this URL, download all the images from the scraped content. Let's see if it works. Submit. Okay, so it has a token limit, that's why I have to submit again and again so that it gets, and I think that's it. So it basically extracts, and then we can print the file name. Let me check one more time. So it says, what does it say? It says like you make a soup, and then for every image in images you try to get the code and then you print. So let's try again. Let's copy paste. I think we might have to, so instead of downloading, I would probably prefer printing the file name. So let me print the file name instead of just downloading. Let me run. When we run, you can see it actually prints all the file names of the images. So we are just like one step above downloading, and this is again an excellent use case. Like if you see, this is something that probably even if you are a very good coder, it's not like something you would do it immediately, but it has actually done a great job. Now I'm going to show you another important use case where we are going to go to one of the most popular pages on the internet, which is Hacker News, and then we are going to ask OpenAI Codex to extract content from Hacker News. Okay, so what I'm going to say is, again, create a doc string. Just start with Python 3 just to say it's Python 3. Scrape HTML content from the URL is equal to this. Get the title, score, and domain. Is it called domain? Site. Okay, I think it's called site. Add the and store it in a dictionary. Convert the content dictionary to a pandas data frame. I'm not sure if it will work, but let me try my luck. Okay, it's going to extract content. Okay, let's see if it works. Again, I think it just simply said score site content, but let's try if it works. Go to my notebook. So let me run it. I think it might throw some error. It didn't. Wow, it didn't throw the error. That is amazing. Let me print the data frame, which is variables. Do I have the page content, which is HTML, right? This is HTML. So there is a function that is returning get data frame. I'm returning a pandas data frame. Get data frame. I didn't call it. I think that's a problem. df equal to, let me run this again. But again, looks impressive. Let me open my variable explorer. My df is an empty data frame. Yes, it didn't work because we gave random names title, score, and the site. But ideally, I think we should have given slightly more, the correct CSS values. For example, if I look at this, or maybe what we can do is we can actually ask a generic code. Okay, scrape HTML content, get all the important tags into a pandas data frame. Let's see whether this works. Doesn't look like it might work, but let me try my luck. Okay, let's try our luck. So it has successfully completed the code. So basically what it has said is extract the content, again similar to, but it is trying to find table. As far as I know, I've already done this stuff, so I mean especially this, so it doesn't have table, but there is no harm in writing. So it's going to throw an error because couldn't. Okay, I don't have a tree parser. Okay, that is another thing. So maybe I can slightly change. Scrape HTML content from the URL. Let me say, what is this? Get title and then story link. Let's just get two things: title, story link, and score, which is this. Title, story link, score. Title, get the HTML tags. Title, story link, tags. It's HTML classes. Title, story link, score into a pandas data frame. Okay, I'm going to delete everything and then just rerun this. See if it improves. Okay, and it's also extracting comments. Let's see. Okay, we don't need the final statement. Let me copy paste it again. I've got a lot of content here. Let me clear all the outputs, go here to my first cell, just run it. It has thrown some errors. So it says none type does not have attribute text. Wherever you're looking at text, Okay, so we are looking at text here. So yes, articles. I think again the problem is I think it's trying to look for the tag tr, so which does not exist. Oh, okay, I think I've been wrong all the while. So it is looking for tr actually. So it is a tr tag, but I don't know what is the error, but that's fine. So it actually writes a code which we can finally debug maybe if we get time. But I was under the impression that it is not a table. That is, it's quite shame of me. So that's okay. So it has written a code, but I think something that we have to check, maybe change. Maybe one small change I would try. Span. Finally, let's run it and then see if it works. And yep, run it. I'm not sure if it will run this time also, but again, once again, there is no harm in trying. Okay, let's print. Done. So let's copy, paste it, run it. It has thrown an error. And what is the error? The error is list out of index. Where do we have a loop? We have a loop, maybe -1. I think it is the same error. So maybe what I would do is can we print URL length of URL classes? Is it going to print 30? Okay, so we have 30 URL classes. So why do we still have an error? Maybe instead of doing this, what I might start doing is I might start printing this. Every time we get something, let me print soup title, print of soup URL. Then let's run this, and you can see that it has printed for the first one without any problem, which is why is programming hard? So it works, we just have to do a little bit of debugging. So we are again in a good space. So that looks again another promising OpenAI. So even though like it is not perfect, which I think I wouldn't expect, but it actually does a good job. So one very important thing that I also learned very recently is that it can also translate programming languages from one language to another language. So now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you a very simple Python 3 code being converted into R. Okay, so I have R and I have Python 3. Okay, so I'm going to create a list words equal to, let's say 1 3 4. Then I'm going to say for word in words print word. Okay, now I'm going to say convert the above Python code to R programming, and let's see what happens when we run this. And it has successfully ran the R code. So that this is just enough, like we don't need this. If you look at this would actually work if you tried with R. So it's the same syntax. I in range of 100 101 print, or I would say if I percentage 2, then print I. Let's say R convert the above Python code into R programming. Let's try. It didn't convert it into R and code to R programming. Let's try again. So yes, it has done. So it has said like if this is this, then print. So again, it has done the job of creating an R code. It has even created the list. So if you know, like if you use Python, so this is, you can do range of 101, but it has actually done its job. So once again, it has successfully managed to create a convert a Python code, simple Python code, to R code. So one final thing before we wrap up this video, because we have already seen very basic things. What about data science? can we do a little bit of data science with OpenAI Codex? So that's something that I am interested in. So what we are going to do is we are going to ask OpenAI Codex to read from this URL CSV and then make some chart. Okay, so let's do that. Python 3, sorry, did I just say 4? Read CSV using pandas from this URL. Print, describe the data frame. Okay, data frame. Let's try. Okay, it is adding something. Let's try. It's reading. Okay, print. We have already got this answer, which is what we are quite interested in. So if we look at if we run this, okay, we have got description. So maybe we can go one step above and then we can say make a count plot of species. Okay, and then let's run this. Make a count plot of species, and let's try now. If I have this, and then I'm going to paste a new cell to run this, and I have successfully got a count plot of species. Let's try one more. In this case, I'm going to say make a scatter plot of petal width and sepal width, or let's find the correlation. Let's try. I'm not sure if it will work, but let's try. Okay, that that's amazing. So it not just finds the correlation, it also tries to. So we got the correlation, we got the scatter plot, which I initially wanted to do. So that is an amazing thing. Given that this is a data science problem, I'm really amazed about. Let's probably try one more thing because I'm just curious. Find out if there is any missing value in the data frame. Okay, that's another amazing thing. So we can just go print if there is any missing value, false, there is no missing value. And again, we can ignore these things, but that's again like this is like out of box. I've not done any tuning, nothing, but still I was able to proceed with my EDA, this which itself would take a couple of more time for me to do. Again, that is an amazing thing because from basic task to web scraping to actually doing a data science task, I could actually create something from OpenAI Codex. And even if this is not going to completely replace what I do, but it is going to actually enable me think less about syntaxes, but think more about the actual problem that I've intended to solve. So I'm planning to share more OpenAI Codex predictive videos about how this can be future of programming. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you are as much as amazed as I am looking at the future of programming and then how it could shape up the entire humanities thinking knowledge. This is definitely, I think, great for new programmers, experienced programmers of various degrees. And if you are already familiar, you know that this is being powered by this is what powers GitHub Copilot. So yeah, thanks so much for listening to me, and thanks to OpenAI for giving me this beta access. I really enjoy this, and I'm going to go do a lot more experiments, and stay tuned. We'll get to see a sneak peek of future of programming. The future is here. Are you excited?